Hmm. Hi everyone, this is Melbay and welcome to my web development session. So this video is an introductory video. So we begin with what an application is. So what is an application? So an application is a tool that helps users to achieve or accomplish a specific task. So examples of applications, we have Microsoft Word, which we use to type our assignments, create letters or design flyers or edit our words or text. We also have Microsoft PowerPoint, which is also an application, which we use to view our slides or prepare our presentations. So, and we have browsers. So browsers, there's a Chrome browser, there's a Mozilla Firefox, and there's an Opera Mini browser. And we use browsers to access information online or do our research. Anytime we are given assignments or anything, we use browsers to find information on the internet. And we also use the browsers to visit our social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram. So this application help us to accomplish those tasks. And we have calculators too. So calculators, which we use to perform operations such as adding numbers or evaluating mathematical expressions and others. So there are three general classifications of applications. We have standalone applications, mobile applications, and web applications. So when we talk about standalone applications, these are applications that can be found on desktop computers. So these are desktop computers. They are computers that we don't carry around. We place them on a desktop, on a desk. That's how you call it, desktop computers. Yeah. So applications that run on these computers are called standalone applications. So yeah, and we have mobile applications. So these are applications that can be found on smartphones. So these are smartphones, our mobile phones. So the applications that run on these phones, mobile phones, are called mobile applications. So these are applications, all these applications. And we have web applications. Web applications are applications that are accessed through browsers. So you can also browsers or web browsers, another name for browsers. So web applications are applications that are accessed through browsers. Okay. So let's talk about browsers. A browser is an application. So this means it helps users to accomplish specific tasks. Some of these tasks include accessing information on the internet, like we said before, playing online games, accessing social media platforms. A browser can exist as a standalone application or mobile application. So sometimes you can have a browser, a Chrome browser on a desktop sorry, on a desktop, or you can also have it on a smartphone. So that's why we say here that some applications can exist as standalone application or mobile application. Then I say, for instance, the Chrome browser can be found on desktop computers and on smartphones. A browser also helps us to access web applications. So like we said earlier, we have standalone applications, we have mobile applications, and we have web applications, and we access those web applications through browsers. So web applications, let's dive into web applications. Web applications are applications designed with technologies such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, SQL, and others. We have XML and a whole lot of others. And these applications can only be accessed through web browsers. Okay. So standalone applications are designed with technologies such as C++, Java, C Sharp, C, and other programming languages too, other technologies. And mobile applications are designed with technologies such as Java, Kotlin, React Native, Swift, and others. We have a whole lot. So I have a note here. Some applications can exist as mobile application, web application, and desktop application. The reason may be that the developer of that application may want to reach more customers because some customers may have only desktop computers and may not be able to access the mobile version of the application. So sometimes the developers try to design different versions of an application to meet different users. Okay, that's how we meet a lot of users. And web technologies. Okay, so when we talk about web technologies, we are talking about these tools: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, SQL, XML, and a whole lot of others. So the above technologies, these web technologies, are used to develop web-based applications. These applications are put together to develop website. These technologies, not this application, these technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these technologies are put together to develop websites, games, social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and a whole lot. So if you combine these web technologies, you can create an application like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all those web applications, and different applications too. So let's begin with HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. HTML. So anytime you launch a browser, you launch or open a browser, the first thing you see is called a web page. So if I launch a browser, and I said earlier, this is a browser. So these are browsers. So anytime you launch any of this, like Firefox, if I launch Firefox, the first thing I will see is something like this. So this is what we call a web page. The first thing you see, the page you see is called a web page. Sometimes the web page may be blank when you launch it, or sometimes it may contain content like this one. So mostly if you launch a browser, you see this one, the ones with Google on it, web pages with content on. So in this case, we have this browser is I don't know which type of browser is this though, but then it's having a content on the web page. So mostly that's what we see recently. So a web page, what's a web page? A web page is basically an electronic sheet of paper, and it's just like a physical sheet of paper. So this is a physical sheet of paper that we have. So a web page is just an electronic version of a physical sheet of paper. So if we have a sheet of paper, what can we do? We can put content on a sheet of paper. So I have this one here. So I have a sheet of paper and I've put content on this paper. So I put text, I've put text on the paper. The boy is looking good. My name is Melbay guy and hello. These are text. Text are words or sentences. So you can put letters, characters or words on a sheet of paper. You can also put shape with a pen or pencil. You can put shape on the paper as demonstrated here. You can also put drawings on a sheet of paper. You get it? So, and you need a tool to put this content on the sheet of paper. So in our case, for physical sheets of papers, we use pen or pencil. And we said that a web page is just an electronic version of this. So if a web page is an electronic version of a physical sheet of paper, then to put content on a web page. So if you want to put content on a web page, which is an electronic sheet of paper, what tool will act as your pen or pencil? The answer is HTML. So HTML is like a tool that acts like a pen or pencil for putting content on a web page. So first we have a web page which is blank, like a physical sheet of paper, blank. And we use HTML as a pen or pencil to put content on the page. So when we put content on the page, we can then have something like this, what we have here. So there's a web page with content on, and it has a background image. So what you see here with the C or something, it's a background image, and we have text here, Google, it's text or it's a word. We have text, the advanced search, we have so many text on it, and we have an input box, something for taking input from users and searching them and stuff. So that's it with HTML. And we also have, let's see. So there's a web page with content on. So here you can see we have image on the web page. We have a video on the web page. With a physical sheet of paper, you can put images on it or put videos on. You can do the drawings though, but then with electronic sheet of paper, you can put images and videos and a whole lot of things on. So a web page has, let's say, more advantages than physical sheets of papers and stuff. So let's go to the next one. So HTML performs two main functions. HTML is used for creating a web page, bringing a web page into an existence, and it's also used for putting content on the web page. So the same tool is for creating the web page, which will give you a blank page, and it's for putting content on to get something like this, what we saw here. So you can use HTML to put everything you see on this page. So we have an image, we have text, this crazy camera, blah blah. It's text. We have images, we have videos, we have a bullet, we have icons, and you can put all this content on a web page using HTML. Okay, so let's move. So content that can be put on physical sheets of paper using a pen or pencil includes text, shapes, drawings, as demonstrated here. So you can see I've put shapes on the paper, text on the paper, drawings on the paper, and contents that can be put on electronic sheet of paper using HTML as your pen or pencil. It's text. You can put text on the page. You can put images. You can put videos. You can put graphics like radio buttons, checkbox, and others. So you can see here. So you can put all this content on the web page using HTML. Okay, let's go down. Now, the main question is how do web technologies such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and SQL connect together? How are they related? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? Do we only need one, or do we need both? So this section of the presentation talks about that aspect. So here we can see HTML can be used to put content on a web page, but it doesn't organize the content on the web page. Okay, let's move. Anytime you add a new content to the web page, the new content will appear below the previous content instead of utilizing the spaces on the web page. So let me show you a sample here. So this is an image, this text, and this is a web page. So this is a web page, and we've put content on using HTML. So we place a text here, right click, and we place an image on the web page, and we place another text called "Find the best businesses in town." So as we keep putting on content, images, text, anything, any content, the contents are disorganized. They flow straight like downwards. You get it? So if I put a new content on the web page, it will appear below the previous one, and that's what is happening. So HTML helps you it's used to put content on the web page, but it doesn't organize the content on the page for you. So it doesn't utilizes the spaces on the web page. So as I said here, so anytime you add a new content to the page, the new content will appear below the previous content instead of utilizing the spaces on the web page. So we have space here, a lot of spaces here. So we could have brought this one here, we could have this one here, but now we are not seeing it that way because HTML doesn't do that type of job. What it does is it helps you to put content on the page. It doesn't organize the content on the page for you. So let's move to the next one. So the next line is another web technology known as cascading style sheets is used to organize content on a web page. So remember, we are looking at the connection between the web technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, how they work together to achieve a common goal. So we said that HTML helps us to put content on a web page, but it doesn't organize the content on the page for us. So another web technology known as cascading style sheets, CSS, is used to organize the content on a web page. So knowing HTML alone is not enough. It will help you to put content on the page, but organizing the content in a way that will make a user feel comfortable using your application or accessing information on your page will be an issue or something. So create a user-friendly application so that a user will feel comfortable using your page and taking stay on your page for a long time or use your application for a long time, you need another technology known as a cascading style sheet to organize the content or achieve that goal. So basically, HTML is used to put content on a web page and CSS is used to organize the content on the web page. So let me show you a sample here. So you can see here at the right here, these are content, this is a web page and having content, containing content. So this content were put on a page using HTML, but you can see it's not organized on the page. And then we added CSS to it. We added the technology, the CSS technology to it. And now you can see it's now organized and it's more friendly, user friendly. You can see it's more nice and very organized and it's utilizing the spaces. Get it? As compared to the right, you can see. So this is a role that CSS plays. HTML puts content on the page and CSS organizes the content on the page for us. Okay. So now you can use HTML to put a button on the page and use CSS to style the button. But then if a user clicks on the button, okay, I think I've jumped one line. So from here, so basically HTML is used to put content on a web page and CSS is used to organize the content on the web page. We've understood that. Hence, with just HTML and CSS, you can develop a very cool and flexible web application, but no one will be able to interact with it because it won't be functional. So let me show you a sample here. This is a mini application built with HTML and CSS, just HTML and CSS. So you can see this application it adds two numbers. It helps us to perform a task, and the task is adding two numbers. So I'm going to give it a number, feed it a number 3, and another number 5. I'm going to add it. I'm clicking on the add. You can see it's blinking, but nothing is happening. You can see. So HTML and CSS can help you to create the application like this. Everything you need to see in an application can help you to create the application. But then no one will be able to interact with the application, or no one will be able to interact with the application. Yeah. I'm coming. So you can use HTML to all right, sorry, I went for I'm going to do something. Okay, so let's continue. So I'm trying to add these numbers in my application and it's not working. The reason is HTML, CSS is still not enough to create a fully and functional application. So, like I said here, with just HTML and CSS, you can develop a very cool and flexible web application, but no one will be able to interact with it because it won't be functional. So you can use HTML to put a button on the page and use CSS to style the button. But then if a user clicks on the button, nothing will happen. Like I demonstrated. So this is where we need another technology known as JavaScript to add interactivity or functionality to the application so that if a user clicks on the button, we use JavaScript to make the decisions as to what should happen. So should a pop-up appear and tell a user, welcome to our website, or thanks for using the application, or should this or that happen after user hit on a button? All is handled by JavaScript. So JavaScript adds functionality to our application. So HTML will put content on the web page, CSS will style the content on the web page, and JavaScript will make the web page functional. Or you can say, okay, let's move. I don't want to confuse people further. So let's talk about, so we said we need JavaScript to add functionality to it. So the same application designed with HTML and CSS, I've added JavaScript technology to it. So now let's see what happens. I'm going to give it the same data 3 and 5. I'm going to add. Now you see it has given us a response or a result. So 3 plus 5 is 8. Let's try a different one. 6 plus 6 and 7. 6 plus 7. So 6 plus 7 is what? 13. So now the application is working. So with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we can create a web application which will be functional and people can use to perform their task or accomplish their task. Okay, so let's move on. So therefore, with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can create a functional and interactive web application. But the issue is the application can only be accessed by one computer or the computer that was used to develop the application, and no other computer can access the application unless a copy of the application is distributed manually or one by one to the computers who may want to access it. So this application is only existing on this computer. If I want, no other computer or user can access this application except me. So if I want the other user to be able to access it, I need to send a copy of this, give a copy to that user, and give it to the person, the user, manually. So I always have to give a copy of the application to users before they can access it. Or none of them can access it. But sometimes if we build our applications, we may want people from anywhere, anyone from anywhere to be able to access the application. So the way we do that is we need another technology called PHP. So this is where PHP sets in. So let's say, so if you want your application like the one we've built to be accessed by anyone from anywhere, then you need another web technology known as hypertext preprocessor, PHP. The application must be moved from the computer it was developed on to a more complex and powerful computer known as server, so that your application can be accessed by anyone or any computer in the world. So when we are done developing our application, our web application, if we want anyone from anywhere to access our application, what we have to do is we have to move it from our computer. So this application was designed with this computer. Now what we want to do is we have to move it from our computer, which is called client computer, and put it and send it to a more powerful and complex computer known as servers. You get it? So we send our application here. This time we move it from our computer and we move it from our computer to the server. And when we have our application on the server, anyone from anywhere can access our application through the internet. You get it? So here, this is a desktop computer, and this is a mobile computer, and this is a laptop. And they can all access our application now through the internet because our application is now on the server. You get it? So mostly when we are developing our application, our web application, we use our computers, our clients' computers to design it. But if we want other users to be able to access it or different computers to be able to access it, we move our application to the server so that anyone with internet connection, any computer with internet access can access our application. Okay, so let's move. So we set PHP. Okay, so on the server here, so now we've moved our application to this server so that anyone using a desktop, mobile phone, or this laptop can access the application through what? The browser. So we already said that web applications are accessed via what? Through the browser. So the browser is on the system. The browser must be on this desktop and on this mobile device. And through the browser, you can access our application. So the application is on the server and you use the browser to access it. But you need an internet connection to be able to use your browser to reach the server and access the application. Okay. So on the server here, we have another technology known as PHP, which controls access to the application and to what extent. So we can move our application here. When we move our application to to the server. Now we will need a different technology, web technology, to control access to our application. Who and who can access our application? What and what do they need to pass before they can access the application? And which part of the application should be accessible to who? Or you get it? You get what I'm trying to mean? So on the server, we now need another technology called PHP to control access to the application, or how the application will be delivered to them, or how certain operations in the application will be handled. So that's where PHP comes in. Yeah. So this is an introductory video, and we don't want to dive deeper. We just want to give an overview of how these web technologies are working together. So once your application gets to the server, now PHP is what you'll be using to handle the rest of the processes. So that's all I want to say over there. So now you have your application on the server. It can be accessed by anyone from anywhere, but your application may have a login system. Hence, anyone who wants to use your application must first log in. So sometimes we have applications that may have a login system. The reason might be that you may want only specific people to be able to access the application. So anytime you add a login system to, you need to provide a sign-up form so that users can create their usernames and password, which they'll be using to log into the system. So if login is required, like I said, if login is required, then we need a sign-up form where users can create their usernames, password, and provide their personal details. The information the users will provide must be stored somewhere on the server known as database. So any data that your application will be requesting from people must be stored somewhere, so that in the near future, the system, the application can still remember that data and use it for further processing. Those data you may be taking from, the application may be taken from users, will be stored somewhere on the server known as database. So, and when we are dealing with database too, the storing and retrieving of information from the database are handled, or is handled by another technology. It's handled by another technology, also known as structured query language, SQL. So now we use PHP to control when the application is on the server, we use PHP to control the remaining processes. But then when it comes to taking of data from users using with your application, then we need another technology known as SQL to handle that process too. Storing and retrieving of information from the database, or or even collecting of data and processing it and storing them somewhere, we need another technology known as database to handle those processes. So these are the web technologies that we spoke about. We spoke about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, SQL. There are others, but these are the core ones that you may need to build a more powerful application. So my name is Melbay, and I want you to join my practical web development class at a fee of 60 cedis a month, and we will dive deeper into these technologies. So I just gave an overview of what is happening behind the scene, but in the main class, we'll be diving deeper into HTML, how to put content on a page using HTML, how to style the content using the CSS, how to add the functionality to the application using JavaScript, and when our application must be accessed by anyone from anywhere, how do we process it with PHP? And if there's any case that we need to take data from users in our application, how do we process that with SQL? So that's what the web development session will be about. So my aim is to equip you with the foundation of web development so that you can understand what is happening behind the scene, rather than just doing what you are told to and not having idea of what is happening. So you can start learning HTML and CSS, but you may not understand what is happening behind the scene. You will just be putting content on a page and you wouldn't be understanding what's happening and the next technology you will need to further process everything you are doing. So the last thing I would like to talk about is websites. We have a web page with content on it. The content is too many, so we have moved some to other web pages. So the other web pages will all be related because they are just one body organized into related parts. Hence, The one body is what we call a website. So basically, we say a website is a collection of related web pages. So sometimes your web page, the content may be a lot, plenty. So you can't keep all of them on one page. So you may want to create different sub web pages to organize the content. And so all these web pages will be related because they have similar data, or they have the same goal or same idea, information, but just in different parts. So these web pages, a collection of these web pages which are related is what we call a website. So the easiest way to understand it is a website is like a book, and each page of the book is referred to as a web page. All right. So I'm currently on UCC campus offering a one-on-one session with which you can decide to have it face-to-face or online. Anyone interested can WhatsApp me on this number to receive and fill out the registration form. So thank you. And I'll be expecting your questions so that we can process it further. Okay. So thank you for joining my web development session. And you want